Hello, it's Christopher, and welcome to a new thing called The State of the Forest, a behind-the-scenes look at the numbers of the latest Not About Lumberjack story. Usually 3-4 weeks out, I usually have about 75 downloads, which isn't a lot by most podcasting standards. This time, however, I'm at 93 downloads right now for Gerald's Grail, the actual story, and then 51 listens for the Behind the Cut. Normally a week after the Behind the Cut, if I have 25 downloads, that's pretty good. So a little bit more about the growth in just a moment. One of the things I also find very interesting is with this little bit of growth, it seems to come from Patreon and just sharing more about the stories I'm doing. And my wife convinced me to finally get on TikTok and just start posting audiograms. And with that, I've seen some growth. So if you're a content creator of any sort, consider it. Might work, might not work, who knows. But one thing I have noticed that's very interesting, I've never been one of those people who really looks at statistics, but now that I'm kind of treating this a little more seriously, I have been looking not at just the most recent stuff, but older stuff as well. And before, the most listened to episode, I think it had around 250 total listens. It's now approaching 550. And there's probably about a dozen that are well over 300 listens that were previously about 100. So seems that people are going through old stories and working their way up. So that is very encouraging. To that end, another thing I can see with statistics, the more people who are listening, there's a certain metric I can see called, I think they call it impactful views, or not impactful views, I'm thinking, something else, impactful listens. And with impactful listens, it just means that somebody's listened to 75% or more of an episode. And most of the people that listen to Not About Lumberjacks drop off. Seriously, if they drop off, it's in the it's usually in the outro, those last few seconds, which means people listen to the whole thing. Now, as new people are coming in, I can tell people are kind of listening, kind of going, okay, yeah, I might listen to this later. But what happens is that 95 to 99% impactful views slides down to the upper 70s, so 78%, whereas people used to listen to everything. So it'll be interesting next time I do one of these State of the Forest updates to see if that's kind of improved again, as well as overall growth. So that's where Gerald's Grail and the Behind the Cut stand. So how's everything going for July's story? Well, very well, in fact. Even though I told myself I would not write another story as long as Gerald's Grail, it turned out that the next story, which is called Godspeed Crazy Mike, it's a mystery set in a bog in northern Illinois. Godspeed Crazy Mike is longer than Gerald's Grail, probably going to be about by 550 to 750 words. The draft is done, but I have a poem I have to write for the very last scene. So once that's done, it's probably going to come in about 10,750 words. And to put that in perspective with Gerald's Grail was 10,308 words. But the draft is complete with the exception of the poem. So everything is well on track for probably mid-July. I mean, I give myself the whole month, but I would love to have it done in mid-July. So that is the state of the forest right now. And I'll have another update probably this week on Patreon about something new with the way that I plan to record. Should be pretty interesting. I'm really excited about it. So once all that gets hammered away and it all comes together, I'll be sharing that on Patreon this week. So thanks again to everybody who has supported the Patreon. Means the world to me. And thanks to everybody who's been listening. I know some people are still kind of new to the stories. Other people have been listening since the very beginning. You know, I'm a guy with a day job who just happens to spend 40 to 60 hours on these podcast episodes that don't get tons of listens, but the listens they do get are people who really, really love what I'm doing, and that always keeps me going. So thank you so much, and let's have a great week.